exactly? Are you not in danger? And what has the ISI responded to you?
Well, what they did was that they responded to the allegations that we made in the media, and essentially once the body was discovered, our position was that this is now a criminal matter and there has to be an investigation. And while we cannot say that the ISI killed him, what we would like is a credible, transparent investigation in order to, and that the ISI remains the principal suspect in this murder. Now, the ISI responded by issuing what has been regarded widely as the longest statement ever issued in the agency's history. And it had the disconcerting element of mentioning me by name, suggesting that the media was acting on disinformation provided by me. Now, Human Rights Watch is one shouldn't blow one's own trumpet, but is an organization of some credibility, we'd like to believe, and we don't make these allegations lightly. And we are, however, we are ethically, it is incumbent upon us, if we are placed in the position that Saleem Shahzad placed us in by leaving this information with us and by trusting us to bring it into the public domain if something happens to him, to do so. Once the ISI issued the statement saying that essentially that the allegations against the ISI were baseless and false, that the media was using information provided by me to spread these baseless allegations, this met actually with a very strong reaction from the Pakistani media itself. And Hamid Haroon, who is the publisher of Dawn, Pakistan's oldest English language newspaper, and was Saleem Shahzad's former employer, and is the president of the All Pakistan Newspaper Society, also issued a statement saying he had exactly the same information with him, and he had no reason to believe that anything that I was saying or that Human Rights was saying was incorrect. Now, what this led to then was tremendous pressure on the government because really journalists, it appeared, had, through a combination of Human Rights Watch coming forward and the newspaper publisher coming forward, decided to break the silence on this issue. And they protested, they demanded an independent inquiry, they demanded that it be conducted by a Supreme Court judge, and it appears that that is going to happen. That said, I would point out that though we have extensive evidence of multiple abuses, serious human rights violations, including disappearances and killings, where there is credible evidence of ISI involvement, to date, no Pakistani intelligence personnel, or military personnel for that matter, have been held to account for human rights abuses. Let us see if it happens now. The signs are not encouraging. We certainly hope that it does.
Can you talk about what Saleem Shahzad was actually investigating? What was the meat of his work that was so threatening to the ISI?
Saleem Shahzad investigated, essentially wrote about, because he wrote about al-Qaeda and the Taliban and that whole terrain of counterterrorism and terrorism in Pakistan, what he basically concentrated a lot on were links between Pakistani intelligence and military on the one hand and elements of al-Qaeda and Taliban on the other, and infiltration both ways, but particularly in Pakistani intelligence structures and military structures, including the Navy, Air Force, and the military itself, the army itself. And this is, of course, something that, on the one hand, it's almost a no-brainer, if you know Pakistan, that there is this kind of infiltration, that there is certainly great ideological sympathy that members of the Pakistani armed forces, some of them, feel. But on the other hand, the Pakistani military feels that its institutional reputation and coherence is threatened by such allegations being brought into the public domain. And they had a particularly bad month in May with the the discovery and killing of Osama bin Laden, and then followed by this attack on the naval base. And essentially in Pakistan, a climate was created where whether you were a Pakistani nationalist who was protesting the raid that the US conducted to capture and kill bin Laden, or whether you were someone questioning what bin Laden was doing in Pakistan for 5 years, there appeared to be a consensus that certainly it was evidence of incompetence by Pakistan's intelligence agencies. If they didn't know he was there for 5 years, they were incompetent. If they knew that he was there for 5 years, they were complicit. If they didn't know that he was there, and then they didn't know that the CIA had set up a station and was actually spying on this man whom they suspected to be bin Laden for a year, they were doubly incompetent. There was no good press for them in this particular situation.
Ali Dayan Hasan is senior researcher for Human Rights Watch based in Pakistan. We'll put the complete interview with him on our website.